My very first day as an Uber driver was in the fall, and it was on a Saturday night. That night, I had plans to test out Uber, but I also wanted to go watch a UFC fight at a local restaurant that was showing the fight. So, what I did is I turned my app on just before I was going to head out to go watch the fight, and I got my first ride within probably, I'd say, 2 or 3 minutes of when I turned the app on. I was a little bit nervous. The ride request came from my neighborhood, and then when I went to go pick up the passenger, it was a young lady who was actually going to another place. She was going to a sports bar to watch the same fights that I was going to see. So that made conversation very easy. So I was able to take her to where she needed to go. I actually was very familiar with the location where she was going, so it only took a couple minutes. But then once I dropped her off, I went to the location where I was going, and I went and I watched the fights. A couple hours later, or a few hours later, got back in my car, turned the app on, and had a whole bunch of rides that night. So in total, my first day as an Uber driver, I don't know if y'all can see this, I had 8 trips, and the total time that I was on the app was 3 hours, or 3.13 hours. In actuality, I only worked about 2.5 hours. Again, I was getting familiar with the app. I really didn't know yet what I was doing. So realistically, I really worked about 2.5 hours, and I got average 5-star rating on all 8 trips, and I made a total of $82.57 in fares. Again, that's $82.57. Now, I also made tips. I believe that night I only had like $4 in tips, which was okay because it was my first night, first time driving for Uber, and so I didn't expect to get tons of tips, and I wasn't really worried about getting tons of tips. But $86.57, including tips, in 2.5 hours of work. Now, that's almost $40 an hour in terms of what I was earning. And if you break it down to the 3 hours, or 3 hours and a few minutes that it shows that I had the app on, that's over $28 an hour. That was my very first night as an Uber driver, and it shows you here like the breakdown. I made over $75 in normal fares, and what's that say? Just over $34 in surge fares that night on those 8 trips. So $86.57 in 2.5 hours of work, 3 hours with the app on, driving around my city, just taking people home from wherever they were at. Uber has only got better and better the more experienced I've become as a driver. I couldn't make that kind of money working as a banker for the large Fortune 100 global bank that I worked for before I was an Uber driver. So as an Uber driver, I get to work whatever hours I want. I get to work whatever location I want. And I turn my app on, I'm working. Turn my app off, I'm not working. That's how my schedule goes. If you're interested in becoming an Uber driver, you should sign up at my links below so that you get the new driver bonus. You won't get it if you sign up directly with Uber or Lyft. You'll only get it through the links below because they incentivize new drivers to sign up through existing drivers. Those bonuses are between $100 and $1,000 depending on what city you're going to drive in. Get started today, test it out, see how it works for you.